everyone, and welcome to our February 20th, 2025 special Best in Georgia live stream. This is your first chance to see the games in action. You saw the trailers, you loved the trailers. Now it's time to see what the actual games play like. So, please let us know in chat if you have trouble hearing us, if you have trouble hearing the games, if you have trouble hearing the speakers. But before I turn it over to our first game, which as you might know is called Bubble Up, let me make a few announcements. First of all, if we have folks out there who knew Carter Lipscomb, he's been at Microprose, PlayStation Like. Always sad when one of our own passes. He passed away today, but his family has set up the most lighthearted obit I've ever seen. But I'm always glad to make sure the game devs recognize their own. Carter Lipscomb had been a mainstay of the game industry. He had a publisher relations for PlayStation for many years, still doing great work, and we'll memorialize him later on our Facebook page. But for some good events coming up, if you are interested in game AI, the GGDA is working with Kennesaw State University on the Transformer AI Symposium, bringing in renowned speakers and researchers on AI. That will be April 26th and 27th at KSU. Information is at ggda.org, so make sure to check it out. Thanks, Mehdi. Glad to hear that everything looks good. Sounds good. Yep, busy looking live stream channel. Scott. Wow, that's a lot of blue-eyed eyes. Good having you here. Michael Revitt, very glad to have you here as well. A whole bunch of Freyer. Yeah, let's go Jammers. SimFest is March 8th in Columbus. That's our Columbus Interactive Media Festival. We've got an announcement, and you are hearing it first. We haven't even announced it on our Discord yet. Everyone on this stream is hearing it first. Jesse James Allen. Many of you remember him from Sieges in the past. He was a lead audio at EA on games, as well as doing music for some of their very best games. I mean, you know him from Madden and a lot of great stuff over there. He's now with Insomniac working on Spider-Man. So he's going to be joining us at SimFest. It's Jesse James returning to SimFest. And for all of our Best in Georgia teams, if you want a free space to demo your games March 8th, let us know and we'll be glad to give it to you. The teams went last year, found it a great opportunity to get feedback on where their games were at that time. So again, March 8th is the event. Next announcement. April 19th, the GGDA and MomoCon are collaborating for the Siege Indie Game Festival, the Dorville Digital Studios. The winner of the Best in Georgia contest gets a free booth both at our Indie Game Festival and at MomoCon. Massive value, great ways to get attention. So keep that in mind. And if you are not the Best in Georgia winner and want to apply, we have information on applying for the April 19th Indie Game Festival on the ggda.org website. All right. So with that, let's get to what you're really interested in, which are these presentations from the developers. So, they are going to be showing you the games for about 5 minutes. Please ask your questions. Wow, a good number of you there in the audience already. 25, that's pretty good for this quick end of the stream. Please ask questions. The developers will show their games, talk about their plans. If they have any specific needs of the community or questions on how to handle things, they can ask them here as well. If you're a GGA member, you can join them in the Discord channel when they're not streaming to talk to them about their projects. And I will relay questions from YouTube and Twitch to the teams. And with that, let's go ahead and start with Bubble Up. If you would introduce yourselves, talk about the jam, and show us your game.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Andrew. So, hello, everyone. My name is Colin Lang, and I was a developer for Bubble Up. And alongside me is Ava. She was the artist on the team. We were a part of the online Georgia Discord game jam. We won that one, and so got a lot planned. I'll go ahead and give the quick elevator pitch of what Bubble Up is. So right now, well, I say right now, but the goal for Bubble Up is an underwater Metroidvania with like a casual and friendly spin, which is completely different than the 48-hour jam. The 48-hour jam was like a roguelike wave combat. So I can kind of show it with this one bubble here. Most of the game in the game jam was you were in a bubble, the bubble's going to the surface, you had to defend your bubble, and then there was a shop. We scrapped it, and we were like, what was fun? And the most fun part of the game was getting out of the bubble and exploring the ocean and then collecting coins. And so what was originally a roguelike is now a casual Metroidvania. And the reason why I stress the word casual is it's not going to have a ton of locked doors. It's not going to have a ton of barrier of entry. It's going to be, but it's not going to be super linear at the same time. So there's going to be maze-like elements to it. For today's little demo, don't have a lot of time. Also don't have a lot to show. This is kind of like a debug room. So this is an example of a pirate ship. And the story behind the game is this is Money the monkey, and a thunderstorm has sunk his pirate ship, and him and the crew all went to the bottom of the ocean, and your goal is not only to escape the ship, but to get to the top of the ocean and find out any secret lore, collect any secret loot along the way. That's where it's kind of like maze-like, and it's more of an action adventure game. But like I said, it's very chill. The main mechanic of the game is, you can see on the bottom left, there's a meters slowly decreasing. That's your oxygen. Your oxygen is your life. It's your jetpack fuel. It's also your breath. So that one mechanic does 3 different things, and you can see it's slowly depleting. Right now, I've used 2. This is 2 upgrades. So when you start the game, you'll only have a quarter bar, and then you'll slowly make your way to half bar, 3/4, and full quarter. And our goal with this game, the audience is kind of like 8 years old to young adult. We're planning to release it on Steam and itch for Linux and Windows. We thought about making it free, but I think our goal is to make this like $1.99 with like a couple areas. So this first area is the pirate ship. It's very linear right now, just some coins placed about. The goal is to have like a bedroom, and then have like a treasure room, and then have like the captain's quarters. And basically you have to like go through these rooms. But for today's gameplay demo, this is a very linear room, kind of showing what the goal of the game is collect coins, try to make it to the next bubble, because each bubble is a save point. So if I was to quit the game and then come back, I would be at this bubble. And also this is a nice safe spot, so no enemy. There's probably in this version enemies will still be aggressive, but the goal is it makes you completely safe in here, and you can catch your breath, and then when you go back out, then that's when your breath starts going down. The first enemy here is a jellyfish. They're kind of like zigzag back and forth, and if you click it, you can get shocked. It pushes you, puts you in stun, puts you in knockback. We're definitely intending to use those on tight hallways and to put 1 million of them everywhere. But at the same time, we want to make every room unique enough where it's not just cookie cutter, copy and paste. It's going to have a bunch of unique stuff like cannons. Here's an example of our puffer fish. They're kind of like mines. They kind of don't go anywhere. But again, they can like take up tight spaces. They really push you really far. I'll kind of go by them, get to the next save spot. And then the last enemy we have so far in this demo is a swordfish. Now, the swordfish has line of sight. I'm going to go back here and catch my breath real quick. So he doesn't currently see me, but once he finally gets to see me, he's going to kind of chase me. And how the swordfish AI works is you can get out of their zone. He's caught right now. But once you get to a certain point and he's not able to see you, he'll go back to his zone of control. But with this being a very early version, I of course need to work on the pathfinding so that he doesn't just get stuck like that. So I'll run away from him and get to the next bubble. Maybe I can, let me see if I can yeah, there you go. I out-chased him, but also that's an example of me entering the bubble, so he knew not to attack me anymore, but again, need to work on that AI. The last thing I will show is the idea of areas. So this is a big bubble. And so a big bubble transitions the scene. So the idea is in this ship, there's going to be multiple areas of entry. So you can leave the ship, then you'll be in the big ocean floor. And so here's an example of the big ocean. It's a lot darker. It's a lot more spacious. There's not a lot for today's demo to show with the ocean, but you can see it's very big, very open and wide. And this was originally going to be like our hub. So we could have multiple areas that you can travel to. You can go in and out of big bubbles. And also the goal with our game is to have a big boss at the top. So there's going to be kind of a funnel or a bottleneck where you fight right now we're leaning towards octopus, but some kind of big gatekeeper who's blocking your entry. And you can technically fight the octopus right away or as soon as you can, but the more oxygen upgrades you get, the more weapon upgrades you get. Right now, money here only has the basic hook. The lot easier the final gate boss is going to be. And so the goal of the game right now is for March 31st to have the ship area and the ocean area. So I'm going to go ahead and show an example of going back to the ocean. There it is. I lost track of the big bubble. So this is, again, showing the transition going back to the ship. March 31st, we're going to do a ship, going to do the big ocean, and then we're going to do the final boss. We're also planning on May 31st, if we do an early access, to have 2 areas. So it'd be a ship, some kind of crab, a cave with a big crab is what we were thinking. But again, it's all ties together to that big ocean, and then that final boss. So that's kind of our goal so far. I probably went over the 5 minutes, so thank you, Andrew, for the time. But with that, I'll leave it up to any questions or any comments.
Yeah, great demo. First question from Mehdi in the chat. Why did you abandon the roguelike?
Great question. So I thought about showing it, but I didn't want to hog up too much time what our 48 game jam was. But it was, to sum it up, it wasn't fun, and it didn't have a lot of room to grow. And so it would have been easier, definitely, from a scope perspective. It would have definitely been easier, but it just didn't feel fun. So we really just took the elements that were fun, which was getting out of the bubble and hopping bubble to bubble, kind of like the barrels in Donkey Kong Country. It was just a lot of fun to just like go bubble to bubble and then collect things. The problem with the roguelike is you couldn't collect things because the bubble was always running away from you. And also, it just, again, to sum it up, it just wasn't that fun.
All right, Michael Revit on YouTube says, look great so far, has made a ton of progress. What do you think your team's greatest weaknesses are for this right now?
Greatest weaknesses, I'm going to go with the cliche answer, which is time. Me and Ava both are full-time employees, so our Monday through Friday, I mean, we have a 9 to 5. And also we have, of course, our lives after that 5 o'clock. So most of our time developing is on the weekend. So the cliche answer there is time. Other than that, I'm trying to think. Also, I mean, this is another classic thing, but scope management. We want to do so much, but we're going to have to cut back on a lot of things. So that's why we're trying to just keep it down to the ship and to just the ocean. But even then, we may need to cut some corners. So, but yeah.
I still think it's well worth it for $1.99. The audio sounds good. Are you thinking of improving that more?
Yeah, something I haven't done. I'm using Unity for the game engine. I've never done audio mixing. I've always just kind of played an MP3 on loop. So something I definitely want to do with this game which would help with immersion is, classic Sonic the Hedgehog. When you're low on oxygen, the music changes to more panicky. The tempo gets faster. Classic anxiety-inducing music, but doing that with audio mixers. So having a track with different layers and then turning up and down certain knobs depending on your oxygen level. I've never done that with Unity, but that's my goal. So I think that would be pretty cool.
All right. If there's anybody out there who could help working through audio mixing in Unity, speak up, let us know. We're going to move to another team. But that was really good. Before we let you go, where can people find your game, find out more about you?
Yep. So I have a small indie game studio. It's really just a place. It's just really me. It's just a place where I do a lot of game jams. So I have an itch page. It's Knitwood Studios, Knitwood with a K. So like you're knitting a ball of yarn or you're knitting a sweater. Knitwoodstudios.itch.io and also knitwoodstudios.com, which has a couple of my other games. I've done a lot of game jams and I really enjoy it. But I haven't done any big releases. So I've only done one full market game. So if I get this one out there, this would be my second market game. So I'm looking forward to it.
And Ava, people are saying that they're loving the bubbles. They love the look of the bubbles and the art in general. So good job. And Maddie is winking. Great. I think get the idea of the audio mixing. Sorry, go ahead, Ava.
That's just good to hear. Kind of all hand drawn, so kind of a older school, almost Flash style animation, even though it's not made in Flash. So definitely intentionally cutesy with that. And like he was saying, our scope is bigger than what we can manage. So finding things like the backgrounds that we can loop for now to get ahead and get to the fun stuff quicker.
Very cool. All right, everyone, we're going to transition and we'll be back in a couple minutes with the next team. So sit tight.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Go. Oh, wait. Here we are with Night of the Living Bubble. Take it away, Jonathan.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan, and I was the lead VFX material artist. So this is the Night of the Living Bubble. So we really changed from like the 48-hour game jam. So originally our game, it was essentially very linear. You had 4 levels, and you had basically like a Left 4 Dead 2 type of like zombie horde at the end with the dragon. So we really are trying to like expand the level and make it into like an actual store. That way it feels a little bit more bigger and not so closed in. So like right here, I can move in, and it still has the same relatively same mechanics with some adjusted like VFX and stuff. Like right here, we have a little like a bubble machine, and then it teleports. And it should teleport you to somewhere else, but we don't. This is the new level, so we're testing out like the actual environment, how it will feel. So we really are changing like quite a bit of stuff. So when I look back, we are adding like soda machines like over here, where they're gonna be like soda grenades, and you're gonna be able to throw them out and stuff. And like right now, I have to shoot these bubble men, but we're actually gonna implement different enemies. Right now, we're in the talks of adding like different animals, so like maybe a gator dog, armadillo, and there's also like some explosions like this. Alright, but yeah, so like we're really testing out a lot of different ideas to really make this a much more fun game. And right after this meeting, we're actually gonna have a meeting for to finalize the art bible and the game design document. So we're still in quite a bit of work in progress. So we're really, our main weaknesses really is probably helping our lead programmer, because it's only one person. So myself and I are going to probably help our lead programmer to really fix with the bugs and whatnot, because as you see, like in the beginning, the bubble man like sometimes spaz out, like right there, you kind of saw him. So yeah, that's kind of the main issue we really have. And like right here, there's a wet spot, and it had that SFX. Yeah, see, you see. Oh man, that's so cool. We're really implementing like mechanics like that to like wetness right here. So like it makes this little sound. So we're really trying to make it fun. And this is the new level. So if I back out right now, I'll show like some other like game mechanics that we're currently working on. I'm gonna have to give me 1 second. I have to go to a different level because I have this one's a little bit more testing. So it should be up. Yeah, it should be up. Okay. So this is the one we're currently testing with the grapple. So we're kind of having like this grapple effect. Essentially, you're going to be grappling all around the actual news store. So yeah. Well, we're still like obviously like debugging the problems and whatnot. But I mean, it's going to be probably fun as soon as we actually enter it. So yeah, so that's the main stuff that we've been working on. We really like have been like adding quite a bunch of stuff. So like there's just so much like to talk about. Like the bouncy beds, that's still a work in progress. Where is it? It's over here. So the bouncy beds, it should be able to bounce quite high. Oh, I guess not in this level. Well, I mean, in the other level in the new main store probably does work, but that's the main gist. And right now we're thinking about the actual level. It's going to be kind of this main environment level plus like 2 other additional levels where it's going to be a storage room and also maybe like a bubble dimension. But like some stretch goals are kind of like adding a shopping cart implementation. So like a shopping cart where essentially you use a shopping cart and you mow down Bulbamen. So there's quite a bit of different ideas, but we're really trying to make sure to keep it fun. That's the main thing. And yeah, that's the Night of the Living Bubble.
Very good. Loving the environment. Loving the location for it is. Michael Revitt says, Bubble Buddy would never hurt me like that. Looks great. Kind of makes me think of Dead Rising 2. Was that an inspiration?
I guess you could say it's part of inspiration, because definitely like Left 4 Dead 2, like zombies, where like they just like get onto you and you can't get out of it. Definitely, it's an inspiration.
All right, you were saying that the main issue is that you've only got the one lead programmer. Are there
Yes.
specific areas that he needs help with other than only having 15 hands?
Honestly, that's the main issue, like just fixing the bugs or whatnot, because like I could probably go through and like let me check. It was really just like having to make sure that there's certain bugs where like the bubble men, like when they spawn, like they freak out because of the nav mesh. So I mean, that's our main issue. We have somebody else that is working on rigging for like different animals and whatnot, so I don't think we're too worried about that. The VFX, I think it's better than it was before. I think that's really our main concerns right now.
You know, I've never shopped at Beds and I'd give it 4, but that's an interesting store. Bed Bath
Yeah.
and Beyond.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so not exactly an all ages game.
Yeah, no.
For the bubble blasting audience. Medi recommends contain your scope. With limited resources, it can be tempting to add things, but focus on the fun. It looks great.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure just to make it fun, like especially the grapple thing. I think like it's a great like work in progress now to where we can probably implement. I'm pretty sure it's not in here. Let me check around.
Did you ever play Vertical Shift?
Vertical Shift. I've heard of it.
VR game, esports title as well.
No, I don't.
I actually think the grapple mechanism came out of a jam, and then they built an entire game around it.
Vertical Shift. I'll be sure to check it out and see.
If you have issues with the grapple, let us know, and maybe we can actually get some of the Vertical Shift team to help out with it. Definitely enjoying the audio. Curious why the noises when you pop bubbles isn't more fun.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
we probably need to adjust it.
opportunity.
Yeah, adjust it a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, if you need audio help, make sure folks know as well. Remember that we reward players in a lot of ways. Cool explosions are one, points are another, but really awesome sounds are a reward in and of themselves. Get you playing regs, and hand soap. I'm going there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
the department names.
Yeah.
We should actually have you at the Atlanta Science Fiction and Fantasy Expo, which is being held at a mall. Get you in one of the old department stores.
Oh, really? That sounds interesting.
Yeah, if you're interested, that's March 15th.
March 15th? Okay.
If you're interested in getting playtesters, I'll talk to ASFE about giving you a free booth.
Oh, yeah, I would be so thankful if I could.
That's at North Lake Mall. Do you know North Lake Mall up at 285 in Tucker?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm like south of Atlanta, so I'm like in Forest Park. So like I'm a little like, yeah, I don't know where that is, but I can definitely drive there if I need to.
Right. And you might want to come to Columbus March 8th, but that'd be too much in 2 weekends. Or we gotta focus on the devs. So I'll connect you with ASFE for doing it at a mall would be hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like because everybody's in class right now, so like I was the only one like available to like come and present the game. So that's what. But like usually, like everybody works on like on their own like free time. We have like 2 other people that are constantly working on it. The lead programmer and someone named James, who is like the lead art person. So like we're really like trying to like finalize and like implement most of the like the mechanics and like all the new stuff. And just try and refine the bugs like as soon as possible.
Do you need help with bug hunting? Obviously, getting you at Atlanta Science Fiction Expo will be good, but we can talk to Indie Cluster about doing some other specific getting into testers' hands.
I would like to connect our lead programmer with somebody maybe, if that's possible.
Sure. All right. So I've got that noted. And if anyone in the audience is interested in testing these games, let us know. All right, great. So that was Night of the Living Bubble. I'm so scared. And we will be back in a minute with our next team, Bubble Yaga. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, we are back with Bubble Yaga. So, Bubble Yaga team, tell us about yourselves, your cham, your game, your plans, and your needs. Take it away.
I'm Noah. I'm the project lead, and then.
Hello, I am Misha. I am the lead developer. I'm also the only non-freshman on the team, so
He's killing it.
that gives me some special status, I think. But yes, currently, this game started out as a bit of a joke. We'd said we'd make the world's best tic-tac-toe RPG. And even after the bubble theme was released, we just stuck to it. So plan is to, in the same way Voltero and
It's Blasho, man.
Many other card-like roguelikes have taken simple mechanics and turned them into really engaging games. We're hoping to do that with Tic-Tac-Toe.
Yeah.
Have some lore.
So essentially, what we have, the idea for the game is it's tic-tac-toe. Obviously, is the main mechanic, but we added a roguelike system to it where there's different pieces you can use on your tic-tac-toe board to like have different effects. So like does more damage, is a critical attack, heals, and then these are like power-ups you can use. We're gonna have more in the future, but this is all we've come up with so far while we refine the game.
Yep. Still need to add the actual like deck type system, but here we have this wonderful map. The boss at the top. Oh. Here's a fight. Tic-tac-toe. Each time you place a tile, you do a bit of damage. And every time you match, it multiplies all the tiles of the match. You can select your power-up at the bottom, and this power-up does different effects when it matches. Most of them just multiply damage, but in the future we'll probably have some more impressive power-ups.
Yeah. I did a bunch of damage to attack, so I just won the fight. Same with this one, I'll probably, win the fight.
Yeah.
Obviously, balancing will come in the future. I'm just kind of cheating right now because we have infinite items at the moment.
Indeed. We could talk a little bit. That's definitely one of the bigger challenges, as we don't have that much experience making games. Coming up with a good balance has been kind of hard, although we haven't exactly focused on it quite yet. So anyone has some tips or tricks on balance a game, I'd love to hear them.
Ooh, I got hit. I'm so bad at this game.
Yeah, and this is the basic gameplay loop. We are hoping, our plan is by the 31st we'll have multiple zones with a big pool of enemies.
The current plan is, I believe we said we'd have 5 worlds essentially you can go to, where there'll be like a map you go through with a boss at the end of it. Currently we just have this one, and the map isn't complete, but yeah, that's the general idea. There'll be fights with different enemies. There'll be different nodes like this. We'll have like healing spaces, free items. These green spaces are supposed to represent shops. Very early stage right now, but that's the general idea.
Mhm.
Trying to get to the boss fight really quick.
Yep.
I'm not cheating. Shoot.
And then yeah, but yeah, that's our plan. Definitely need to work on the art.
Yeah, everything's very early. We're refining it all. Like we're gonna have actual story, but not too much because it's a roguelike, obviously.
Mhm.
The art's gonna be better. The game's gonna not look like it was made in 2 seconds. We're
let's fight the
just gonna
boss.
refine everything, sort of. Here's the boss.
If you can't tell, the map is based off the Slay the Spire map. They were very kind to upload their basic source code for the map generation online, so we based it off that. So if it looks familiar, that's why. And I just quickly kill the boss, and that will be it. We'll have questions.
All right. It was funny because you'd mentioned the Slightest Fire map because people were loving the character art, but we're unimpressed by the map art. So
yeah, the map was made very quickly recently. We didn't know if we would have it ready for the presentation, so.
Yep, that was made by me at 1:40 in the morning, so that's why the art's not the best.
On this one, for the presentation, we were kind of trying to show more of our gameplay rather than the final product. So like this is more of like a concept than an actual build because it's not fully ready for like a release type of thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say our next big focuses will be adding in we're calling it a deck, but set of tiles. We're basing it more on the good old A systems of when the DS and the Wii came out. There's a lot of like match 3 battle type games, like Tetris battle games. So we're gonna be basing on that to keep a quick flow, where it just give you a tile and you place it down. And then after that, our next big focus will be making a more flexible AI system, because currently
the
kind
AI
of hard to
really
see
likes
what
losing.
Yeah, it just randomly chooses a tile, and that leads to either the fight's really hard because it randomly chose the perfect spots, or it's very easy. So
yeah,
if you have any tips on making AIs, that would also be pretty cool, because we're not exactly sure.
Our biggest weakness has been inexperience so far, so yeah, help like that would be very appreciated.
Indeed.
Sure. A couple comments from chat. Michael Revit says, very unique and very pastel. Medi commented he'd like a more specific elevator pitch. We love the term world's best tic-tac-toe RPG, but it really doesn't say anything. So we definitely recommend something 10 words or less that you can really sum it up in. Okay. I'm not sure what it would be, the tic-tac roguelike killer, or what it'll be, but I would keep playing around with that as well. You talked about AI. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways to approach AI in games. I'm a big advocate of make sure it's satisfying more than balanced. Make sure people feel that they're having a good time with it. We can always make AI that no player could ever beat. And that's never the
Yeah.
goal. We want them to have a satisfying time and preferably learn from the earlier matches before they get to the
Yeah,
final
that's
one.
Oh, that was the
that's
biggest problem. Originally, we had the two options for the AI. We couldn't figure out the in between, so our two options were to make it pick a spot randomly or to make it always pick the perfect move, which was not fun because it's tic tac toe. That's a solved game. So
yeah. We have some ideas. We're adding variety to the AI.
we also might have variety for tic tac toe boards as an idea we've thrown around. So instead of just like a 3x3 space, we might add like different shapes of tic tac toe boards. We're playing around with the balancing to see if that's viable, but it's definitely not just going to be tic tac toe for the whole game. There's going to be
Yeah,
a bunch of
well,
different mechanics we work on.
It'll be more than tic tac toe.
Yeah, it'll be tic tac toe expanded edition.
Exactly.
So I want to avoid the scope creep, but obviously making the characters more interesting, what they power up with along the way is important.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we that's our big thing. We're trying to get the skeleton for the game done, and then we can add on to it until our deadline's ready, essentially.
Sure. And obviously you keep doing it after the deadline, but we're just looking forward to seeing how it is at the deadline. With balancing,
for sure.
you can definitely think of a few people who can help with that. Balancing is definitely both art and science. So might find some good people for you. All right. And you're done in Unity, right?
No,
this is Godot.
Godot's well, a lot of Godot this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very good for 2D games.
Mm-hmm. We thought it was a good fit.
Makes sense. All right. Okay, where can they find more about Bubble Yaga?
Yes.
We have an H page on that's Sea of Slugs. That's our group name.
Hold up. We were meant to post the link to it.
Yep. All right. Well, then I'll go ahead and move you back to the regular Discord, and you can put your links in the YouTube.
All right.
That'd be great.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And everyone, that was Bubble Yaga. We will be back in a minute with Suck It Up. We are back, and you can... No, I mean, we're back with Suck It Up. Yeah, gotten some good attention on this game. I think they've broken 500 views on the trailer on our channel. Got some good comments, a lot of good likes on it. I know a lot of folks are looking forward to seeing how they too can suck it up. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gavin Graves. I'm the design lead.
I'm Hunter Walton. I'm the tech lead for the project.
Yeah, and we'll be kind of just going through what we had and what we're planning for the rest of this sprint, for the rest of this March 8th. Yeah, till March 8th, 30th, whatever. So first off, I'll go through the kind of the general story that we have. And do you want to pull that up on the Miro for me?
Yeah.
All right. So it's a pretty simple story. Basically, you're in the Y2K era corporate world, and your boss is just a real drag, and you get reported to HR for not being pretty likable. Everyone's really rude to you, and you just try your best to be nice, but that doesn't cut it in the corporate world. So you get laid off, you get fired, you get kicked out, and you have to start all the way from floor 1 and work your way back up using insults against your corporate coworkers. And so that sort of was our original sort of concept. stemming from the concept of the bubble. We really wanted to do speech bubbles, do something very different other than just water. And we have really been pushing that to its limits and really bringing out all the ideas that could possibly have. This has led to a lot of design issues, but we've been working around them as best we can. And do you want to showcase the game that we have?
Yeah, so the current state of the game right now, we are currently in development, so a lot has changed since our initial release on itch. But here is kind of state of the game right now. So here is your main character. You are able to shoot speech bubbles with your right bumper on your controller, and with your left bumper, you're able to suck in projectiles. One big change since our original version is during our original version, ammo was very much a resource, so you had to suck in speech bubbles in order to shoot out speech bubbles. But now ammo is more of a power-up in a way. Players in our initial playtesting were kind of frustrated. They felt like not having any ammo and being defenseless was a bit frustrating, but obviously we didn't want to give just unlimited ammo and that's it, because that would really hurt our main driving point of the game, which is being able to suck in projectiles and shoot stuff out. So now, whenever you suck in these colored projectiles, you now gain a few shots with those. So this is an AoE projectile, and it does AoE damage. And we have a few other types. Some of them are in the works, but the whole point now is you are able to suck in these special speech bubble types, not only as a defensive thing, but also as a way to power yourself up. And it's incentivized by the fact that these special projectile types will do a lot more damage and be a lot more impactful than the base shot that you normally have. So like this red one, it will one-shot the enemy, versus if I have a white one, which is my normal shot that I have by default, I have to hit an enemy 3 times in order to take them out. One other big change that we've been pushing since our initial release is we've completely ported the game over to controller. There is still going to be mouse and keyboard support, but we are going to be making the game controller-based, or with the intention of controller. And with that, we've been trying to keep controls as simple as possible. So right now, you use your right stick to aim your megaphone, your left stick to walk around, right bumper to shoot, left bumper to suck in projectiles. And that's kind of where we're at in terms of gameplay that we've currently implemented. So Gavin, if you want to take it on some of the design stuff.
But beyond that, what we've been pushing with a lot of it is how these different projectiles are going to act, because speech bubbles at first seem like they're going to be pretty simple to do, but they're actually quite complicated because we have to deal with them moving fast enough to be dangerous, but also slow enough to be readable, because that's one of our big things. We want to maintain that the things that they're saying that we've spent time writing are actually going to be insults that you can see from a distance and see in the middle of gameplay. We've been pushing our designs in order to sort of orient this the best we can. One of those is going to be bouncy ammo. And so this is going to push our level design really far. The current state of the level is what it was during Game Jam. But we are right now blocking out a lot of different levels in order to have these bouncy projectiles really be useful, because as they bounce, they do more damage and more damage until they inevitably explode. So this will make a lot of controlled chaos, which I think will be really sort of dynamic and fun for the player. And as well as we can place enemies that have paths where they shoot so that they can make danger zones. We've also been looking at fast ammo, which is kind of like a sniper rifle in a sense, where the more you hold it, the farther it goes, and then it'll shoot straight through and take out a lot of enemies at once. This will allow you to have a lot of range more than anything else, and also pull the camera out with that action. On top of that, we also have one attack where you say one thing and it shoots 3 more out, similar to something like a shotgun, and this will shoot in a cone and go a very short distance and then explode in a volley. And so this will make sure that any sort of close range enemies that are swarming you, you could take out in an instant. On top of that, we have the AoE, which we've been showing already, but we have a big change coming where we're going to have hold to increase range, and then once you let it go, it'll volley forward and explode on impact. This will make it where the same inputs are always the same sort of feel, but always operate slightly differently. This will make it where there's a level of mastery that the player has to have, but also a level of elegance to our design. I can also show you some of the level design changes we've been operating on. One of the big focuses that we've had was this sort of design philosophy that we kind of came to by looking at games that were very different in terms of this bullet hell sort of genre. One of those being Enter the Gungeon, which it has a lot of small projectiles going in a lot of different directions. They make use of large open areas. We said, well, in order to counter that, in order to make single projectiles more dynamic, we're going to design around these sort of linear hallways that branch out into other hallways, similar like an office building. We want to make sure that it maintains the same building feel and it doesn't really break reality in a lot of ways. But also that there's no dead ends. We want the player to be able to progress through quickly and want to fight their time, because that's what this game is about. It is about beating the clock and making sure that you don't go over time and you can actually defeat your boss at the very end. So that's a lot of that's going on. We also have one boss in the works that we're really planning on. We're really conscientious of scope creep. And a lot of that has to do with just the fact that we've worked on quite a few projects, but none that's ever gotten this far. And we want to make sure that we don't kick ourselves in the butt and, do too much, but have bad quality. So we're going for one boss by the end of this sort of event. And the boss is supposed to be a lot of very different mechanics that also tie into the things we've already seen in the game. It's going to be your CEO, and you're going to, take him over and take his position, RoboCop style. There's also going to be a progression through mastery, but we're not going to be delving into roguelike elements, because we find that those can really tend to bloat your game very quickly and also become redundant and not as dynamic as you might hope. And they can also be very complicated to implement, but we want to make sure that our game feels good no matter what. We have a couple things also planned past March, and we've been breaking everything up into these sections where we have stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. We've broken up our 3 sort of level clusters. I wouldn't say they're straight up levels, but they're kind of like regions of the building. So stage 1 is going to be our first course of action. This is what we're already working on, which is the current office and the receptionist tutorial. It's going to be like the first floor. And then as we go on, we're making sure that everything we implement is going to be their own sort of little chunks that don't take away from the previous thing we've worked on. And so that if we ever come to a point where we can't work anymore, we are able to just cut it and go. And we can, make sure that everything before that was still polished. And this is going to be the 30 minutes where you have the final boss and the finance room. So this is going to be within March. And then we have the post-March, which is the polish and extras. We want to do a waiting room right before the CEO battle, but also an outside the building section where you can cause a little bit of chaos. On top of that, we've been working really hard to make sure that we have a successful launch. And the way we do that is through, one, we have a social media page on Instagram and X that we've been maintaining. We have people dedicated to that. We also have an art team who's creating assets for that, which come from our cinematics team. And so they kind of dip in because they developed the style for it. So that whenever we have our free Steam release, we can actually really get a good launch, and employers can see that and be like, oh, they know what they're doing. We also have everything in this game, which is kind of crazy because it's something we usually are against, is bespoke. It kind of happened by accident, but everything we've made in this game is fully custom, including the music, the sound design, and also all of the models and the environments. So right now we have a large log of things that we are making and we have yet to implement because we're making sure that our design is top-notch first. With that, I think, do we have any questions? We can drop also the Spotify. We have a current, it's the Game Jam version of the 48-hour version of our soundtrack, which includes 3 tracks in their sort of roughest state, by our wonderful composer Carson. And I can post that in the chat if you'd like.
Yeah, we'd love to see that in the chat.
Here we go.
Lots of good stuff here. You want to talk a little bit more, or you want me to start throwing questions and comments?
I'd love to hear some questions, honestly.
All right. More comments and questions. First of all, a lot of comments on additions, which I would actually recommend keeping your streamline focus and avoiding adding too much. But Medi says, make a Steam page like yesterday.
we already have a Steam page currently being approved by Valve. We already made the payment. We have the account made, and so that is all already in the works.
Very cool. Michael Rega says, yeah, I'm a little quiet, Lily. I just realized that that Discord's grabbing the wrong microphone again, so he's back and forth on me. Let's see. Upgrade. Something would be good is upgrades between levels or over time, and more difficult enemies each floor. Keep upping the ante. I mean, I love the idea that your characters are coming out of their social bubbles and their isolation. Do this. I was throwing around ideas for new weapons, especially instead of bullet time, you implement bubble time. We've got something that slows things down while you speed around, since time is a major theme in the game. I just love the idea of bubble time.
That's fun.
Yeah, a lot of interest in maybe there's a way to change out guns, but again, keep streamlined. Most of the comments we're seeing are cool additions because you're inspiring everybody to great ideas for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been trying to make sure that we trim as much fat as possible so that we can make the game feel as strong as possible. That is probably our biggest focus more than anything. Yeah.
Thanks, Rachel. For the music's overpowering my voice. I hope that helped a little bit. The other comment is, in a game like this, it's very easy when the developers are the main testers for you to be making the difficulty higher and higher, so it is good for you. So we recommend making sure lots of folks are testing this to make sure that doesn't happen, that it stays for a more general audience.
Yeah, so from here on, starting this Saturday, we're going to be doing weekly builds, and SCAD here has a club called GDN, which is just all of the game developers at SCAD, and so they've asked us to come for playtesting this weekend to go ahead and start on that. But past that, we're going to be doing weekly builds and kind of trying to set up playtest groups and stuff for that to help with difficulty progression.
But also beyond that, once we get our Steam page, you can run playtests through Steam, and hopefully if we get enough traction on our social media, we can actually branch out and use virtual testing, so there's people outside of our bubble.
Oh, good one. All right, great stuff from Suck It Up. Thank you very much. And now we have Detective Bubs in the house. So Detective Bubs, if you be so kind, tell us about your game, your jam, who you are, what you're doing, what your plans are, what your needs are, and everything else we need to know. Take it away.
Alrighty, my name is Hannah Adams, and I am one of the co-makers of Detective Bubs. We also have in here, we have Alex, we have Taylor, Haley, Violet, and Val, and Chloe, who couldn't fortunately be with us tonight, but all contributed into this game. We each took the time to make every single asset. Everything is pixelated and drawn, and everyone did a really great job. So for Detective Bubs, we have this little duck character who is a rubber duck, and his name is Detective Bubs. Now, Detective Bubs is a detective in a bath time world, and his task is to find all of the clues and find out what's been going on recently in the bathtub. Where we have various different characters, and he has to follow the clues and figure out why are their bath toys missing. And it's just a really fun puzzle game where you have to go around and putting your clues in bubbles, and it's just a really great time. And like again here we have the chief that he has to talk to. It's like his partner in crime that he talks to, and he helps him out and gives him clues, or he just lets him know what's going on. Now in this game, I will say we are mainly animators in here, and we're still working on coding. Alex has been doing an amazing job getting the walking simulation done and having the transitions. So we're trying our best to learn coding, mainly Alex, and we're trying to help him any way possible. So as you see, like he's climbing down the hair, and he has to go and basically find the culprit who's kidnapping these toys. And yeah, Haley, if you had anything you wanted to add with that.
So yeah, mainly I feel like our game, a lot of it is going to be where you're looking for clues to find what happened to the bath toys, and I feel like we may implement a part where there is a final boss that is overall taking the bath toys. Yeah, I'm very proud of all of us. We are all animators, and Alex here has been learning coding just for us, so we can be able to present this game to you guys. We don't have a lot of gameplay implemented yet, but when our trailer does drop, a lot of it shows our proof of concept or how we want the gameplay to look like in the end, which we're going to try to get before the deadline.
Yeah. So there are certain systems that I'm trying to get implemented. Some things that I need to smooth out. So like jumping animation is a bit delayed for certain things that I just need to iron out. I'm trying to make the dialogue tree a bit more complicated than it probably needs to be, but I want it to be able to be a bit more snarky occasionally. I guess whenever Detective Bubs talks based upon our script. And I have to implement a item system in which you're able to inspect and bubble up items, which will be shown on the trailer for when we're able to post it. Yeah, no, this is just a learning experience for all of us. This is my first time making a game within Unity on this code, so I've been learning different plugins and things of that nature. This is just a learning experience for this entire team. And compared to the last projects that we put out, this is definitely the one that we've pulled together the most in terms of concept and everything else. And this rubber duck is on the case. Yay.
But yeah, so this is mainly our game. We just have a detective duck that we're trying to do, and in the future what we're really wanting to do is obviously finalize this game, but we want to have it to where later on we have more maps and stories and even more clues. And normally what you would see is like in the sewers or even up above, there would be like a clue on the ground, whether it be a piece of hair, a toenail, a piece of weird gross cheese, or a band-aid of this culprit leaving a mess around the bathtub. So later on we would really like it if we had the chance to show that animation of him putting the clues in a bubble and then it showing up in the inventory. So what we really need right now is just time to really hone down and just get all of that together and make it look clean and smooth. Like again, like what Haley said, is it's just basically we have the trailer, which it's really good, and it gives a good representation of what our game looks like. And yeah, for the most part, this is our game. And by the end of it, we'd also like to have a boss fight, possibly, and have more clues and puzzles that the player will be able to go and try to solve, whether it's looking for something, whether it's figuring out a letter and then putting it together. We just want it to be super interactive and make sure that the player is able to explore different places other than just the office, the bathtub, and the sewers. But
Alright.
yes, this is our game.
They'll get to explore more than the bathtub. I love it.
Yes, sir.
Medi asks, is it a detective or a duck-tective?
It is a duck detective.
All right, Medi, you got it. You were right. They've got a rubber duck-tective. You're talking about adding a boss fight at the end. Is that going to require more mechanics for you in the game, or that's just using the current mechanics you have in place?
I think we're going to try to use the current mechanics we have in place. Like later on, if this game really goes through, we'd love to improve it and actually evolve it into a bigger boss fight. Which you'll see in the trailer at some point when it's posted if people haven't seen it yet. Like we have a really fun like hidden clues of who possibly the boss is, and we would really like to have a chance where he can use his little bubble blowing detective glass and be able to like, attack the boss. So we would like to right now it would be pretty simple, but then evolve it over time.
Excellent. All right. Sherry Crisp on YouTube says, I love that rubber duck detective. So you got a good character in place now. It's interesting you went for the film noir black and white look with a rubber ducky.
Yes, sir. I believe that was, I can't remember who specifically's idea that was to make it black and white. It was either Haley or...
It was mine.
It was Haley.
I love like old noir detective James Bond.
Yes, and it was perfect when she pitched that. So we wanted it to be like where this rubber duck, who's normally just a cute little duck to the normal eye, has this own little like noir office in the crack of the bathtub. And we want it to be like, ooh, mysterious. And I'm so serious. This is my life. This is what I do. My life is dangerous. But in reality, when he leaves his office, it's just a really cute bubble time world.
Yeah, I feel like there are a bunch of Humphrey Bogart, Sam Spade jokes in there some here, but I'm not going to come up with them yet. Yeah, looking good. Sounds good. Now, with the boss fight, are you seeing them collecting items to help with that beyond what they've got now? But really, it's just the tools they have now being used correctly.
Actually, I think that would be, and if anyone else agrees in my team, that would be really fun if he could maybe maybe have clues that could help him at some point. We could maybe have him build like a different weapon, or maybe they're just, at some point, he could just use his normal little bubble blowing wand. I keep forgetting what to call that. I'm sorry. Little wand, either to
spyglass.
Yeah, spyglass. So either he can we can have it to where maybe he can use the items that are in the bubbles to throw it at the character, whether like throw the Band-Aid at him or throw the piece of cheese or just something like just really fun and interactive, so that you can drop those items in your inventory, maybe launch it at the boss fight. We think that would be something really fun to put into that.
I think you answered this, but Indy Sunflower asked, whose idea was it to be about a duck? About a duck.
I want to say Taylor. I think Taylor here is the one that first thought it should be a really cute duck. And then after we heard that the theme was bubble on that, like on Monday when it was released, we immediately were like, oh my gosh, a rubber duck. Like, this is the best idea ever. So I think Taylor had a really big part in that on the duck part of it.
It was originally a yellow originally a yellow duck with a bat, and now he's a detective noir duck.
So it went from bat duck to duck detective. I get you. All right. So this is everybody's first game in Unity, right? So what has been the hardest part about your learning curve?
Everything coding, definitely.
Yeah.
So any specific areas that are being problematic?
Implementing. So I had worked with
Alex,
Unreal Engine.
you want to answer that part since you're the one that has to be the main one to do this?
Yeah. I had to deal with Unreal Engine in the past, and so I was more familiar with nodes.
Is he talking?
Oh, is my stuff not coming through?
No, you're coming through. Nodes are...
Okay.
Sorry, that was my fault. My bad.
Yeah, nodes are definitely different from anything you got in Unreal.
Yeah.
Blueprint's very different.
So there still are some node systems, and I'm trying to implement Node X into Unreal through a plugin, but I'm still struggling a bit to write some of the scripts for some parts and to iron out certain things. Some things occasionally not showing up just because like maybe I didn't implement the code fully correctly. Going back and rereading through my scripts to make sure I didn't make a wrong connection between certain like typing out words wrong, things of that nature. Just basically keeping all the code in order, I think, has been our biggest hurdle so far.
Now, it sounded like a number of other of you were going to work on in Unity as well. What's it been like for you working in Unity? Those the rest of you are picking it up.
So I have never touched coding in Unity before. I'm planning on learning so we can help Alex. I learned coding 8 years ago back in high school in Snap, and that is my only coding experience. I don't know if anyone remembers what Snap was or is, but it was a very simple coding place where you just snapped code together. You didn't have to write anything.
Right.
And so I'm going to be, I haven't yet, but I'm going to learn how to help Alex the best that I can with some of the coding elements. But it's just, I guess, the hurdle of figuring out where to start because I'm an animator. I have no coding experience at all except in Snap. And so just kind of figuring out how to start learning and where to start so I can help Alex as best as I can.
Well, Unity was made for artists, so it's the perfect thing for you. And Snap and Scratch are both wonderful tools for getting started in coding. So, do you all have a repository of any type set up yet? Nope. Alex?
By repository, do you mean like where we keep all of our assets and everything?
Yeah, code repository.
We mainly use Box
Okay.
as a backup. We need to set up a proper sheet for certain things, but overall, we do keep most of our stuff within Box.
I didn't know if Augusta, you're going to Augusta, if they give you a Unity account that gives you the Unity repository system or not.
Sadly, no, but we do have free access to Box, so we have unlimited storage within Box.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes next. Good plan. Glad you're keeping it pretty tight and limited. So looking forward to playing through this in the future. All
yes,
right.
sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yep. With no other questions from the chat, let's hear all of you telling us which games you are rooting for during the Best in Georgia. We've got 5 good ones. Bubble Up, Night of the Living Bubble, Bubble Yaga, Suck It Up, and Detective Bub. Is it Bub or Bubs?
Bubs.
Bubs. Of course, Bubbles. There we go. Detective Bubs. That's absolutely right. All right, everybody. We'll be calling with our teams. If they're showing it any places like SimFest or the Atlanta Science Fiction Expo, we will be publicizing it. Remember that at KSU we'll be having the Transformer AI Conference April 26th to 27th. That Jesse James Allen will be joining us at SimFest along with Bob Carter, along with Joe Casava, along with Thor, Tiger Lily, Eric Lorenz, Anatoly Lubarsky, and many other game devs. And April 19th, the Siege Indie Game Festival, where the big winner will get space, just as they will at MomoCon. All right, Detective Bubs teams, let's say goodnight to everybody.
Night, guys. Night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on.
Take care, everybody.